Hey guys, welcome to my new video. In this video, I will give you a quick tutorial around how we can integrate Clerk with React Native, especially Expo, and how easy it is to create a social login and onboarding screen using the Clerk. So this is the demo of the application that we're going to create today. So basically the initial page is going to be the auth page. I have three different buttons. I can log in with Facebook, Google, or Apple. Let me just try to log in with Google to see you the demo of what it looks like. Once I'm logged in with Google, I'll just select one of the account. I'll click on continue. And once the login is successful, I would be prompted back to this complete your account page. So this is like an onboarding screen where user can onboard their other details, but I've just keep it simple. So currently what I've done is even if user try to be closing the application and reopen again, it maintains the session and show the user on the same logout, same complete your account or onboarding page. So user have to complete this before they can access the other page inside the application. So I'll just quickly enter my detail and I will just click on complete account. You will see that since I'm using Clerk, which is another benefit of having authentication management system, the simple thing like username is already taken, is properly handled and cared by Clerk. So I have to make sure that each user who creates an account in my system, they had to have a unique username. So I'll just add dev123 and I'll just click on login. If I go, I will just have a one home screen and in the settings I can see that I'm logged in with this email. I have this full name and also this username which I got from the onboarding. If I just click on log out and then I try to log in with the same account again, so if I just try to click on same account, you will see that I am not being prompted to onboard again because I have done the onboarding process. So how does it look in the Clerk dashboard is basically this is the account that I just created. If I look into this account, you will see that the username is populated. I have also metadata which I'm using for making sure that other detail like gender and whether the onboarding is completed or not being captured. I also have the social logins that I use. So this is the full tutorials of integrating Clerk. You will also learn about how we can use metadata to manage onboarding and everything. I'm super excited for this tutorial. Let's get started. Since I will be using Clerk for my authentication, I would go into the Clerk. I will just create a new application. I can give my application any name. I will select all the sign-in option that I want for my application. For this demo, I don't need email. I need Google, Facebook, and Apple. It has all the other sign-in option you can choose from based on your need. But for this demo, I will just create these three. Once I click on create application, what I can go is Clerk has a good documentation around Expo, so I will just follow this Expo quick start guidelines. I will start by installing the Clerk Expo package. I will head back to my terminal. I'll just close my server. I'll just clear it. I'll install this. Once that is being installed, what I could do is I'll just copy. I'll select the project that I need, and I'll just copy the env file. I'll go into my VS Code. I'll just create a new file .env, and I'll just paste my env there from the Clerk. So basically what we need to do in order to get Clerk working, we need to wrap our application with Clerk provider on the root layout. I'll just copy this, head back to my code. I'll go into app layout and I'll just import this. Once that is done, I'll just import this and I'll just paste it here, and I will also import this and wrap my whole application with this, and I'll just make sure it's gone, and I'll just wrap this with Clerk loaded. So basically everything inside it will only work whenever Clerk is fully loaded in our application. The next thing that Clerk recommends is us installing the Expo secure token. It uses the Expo secure token to store our token in the application so that it remembers the next time user logs in. What we need to do is we need to create a cache.ts file. I'll just copy this file. What I do is I'll just head to utils folder. I'll just create a new folder called cache.ts, and I'll just paste all the necessary detail here from the Clerk documentation. Once that is done, I'll just need to import that token cache in my Clerk provider. I'll just import it from the utils, and that's about it. We don't need the sign in sign up page for our requirement. What I will do is once that is installed, I'll just make sure that it's running. Once Clerk is installed on our application, we don't see anything working. We can just see that this error message pops up or this logs pop up, which means that Clerk has been integrated and initialized properly. The next thing that we need to do is we need to install the OAuth with the Expo. So I can just follow this guideline again on the Expo. Expo recommend us installing Expo linking. I'll just go back to my terminal. I'll just paste this. And so I don't need the sign-in flow. Oh yeah, I need the sign-in flow. What Expo recommend is us doing the browser warm-up. So Expo uses browser in order to show the user the login with social media, and it recommends that we do a browser warm-up before we can run the application. So I will just copy this code and head back to my auth page in the index page. I'll just import this, and I'll just copy this Expo warmer, and I'll just do it again here. I think I have few file missing. I'll just don't use it. I'll just use import it from React, and when that is done, I'll just do this on my app level. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to use the use OAuth and the strategy to run this one, but I won't do that in this page. But what I would do is I will use this component that I created, social login button, and in that component I'll just copy this for now, and I'll just make sure it's imported properly from Expo. And once that is done, I'll just copy this again. So onPress is using the use callback. I'll import the linking from as mentioned here. I think it should be imported from Expo linking, and I will also import React so that it uses that particular React.use callback. And the next thing that I need to do is I'll just need to integrate the onPress. I think I already have it. I'll just make sure that I just rename it so that it works with my requirement. And yeah, and I'll just try to rerun my whole application. Now that the OAuth hook is integrated properly with the button, what I have done is quickly I added a component where I have just used the Clerk signed in component, and basically the things under this will only be rendered whenever the user is signed in. And as of now, you can see nothing is being rendered because user is not signed in. What I would do is I'll just click on one of the button. Currently, every button is integrated with Google login. We will fix that and make it dynamic. But if I click on continue, it will ask me to select any of the account. If I click on continue, what you will see is you will get an error saying that CAPTCHA is missing token, and which is a valid token, which is a valid error, sorry, because what Clerk usually do is if you go into the configuration, if you go into the attack protection, Clerk uses a bot signup protection. So basically it uses, let's say, a third-party website or anything, or any client which does not have access to a proper web browser. It will just reject that caption. So what we have to do is we have to disable this and then save our change. Once that is disabled, so you have to go into configuration and attack protection and then disable the bot sign up. Once that is disabled, if I just remove this error and click on the button again and use the same procedure and everything and click on continue, you will see that now I will be logged in. So it shows me the session is logged in, and I can also see that I'm signed in and I have this button. So this is how we can integrate the login with social auth provider easily. Now the next thing that we need to do is, since this is not a dynamic, so what I need to do is I'll just create a new function saying const get strategy, and I'll just get, so basically if the strategy is, I think I just rename it. Yes. So if the strategy that we are passing to this component is Facebook, then it will just return the OAuth Facebook, OAuth Google, and OAuth Apple based on our requirement. And I'll just replace it with get strategy, and I will just make sure that it just returns. If nothing is there, I'll just return OAuth Facebook so that it just does not give an error. And I think what I need to do is I just need to copy this before this one. Yes, so it does not give an error. Now if I just click on logout And if I click on Facebook, it will ask me to redirect it to Facebook. I can just click on cancel. If I click on Google, it will be dynamic with Google. And then again, if I click on Apple, it will be again with the Apple. So the next thing that I need to do is basically what you can see is if I just click on Google and then cancel it, it does not show any loader or anything. So I'll just want to add a quick loading here. So I'll just go here. I'll just add a use is loading state, set is loading equals to use state, and then just make it false. And what I will do is I will just set loading as true here, and then in finally whether or not it shows an error, I'll just set is loading to false. And here I think what I need to do is instead of this, I'll just needs to is if is loading is present, then I'll just show an activity indicator with a small size, otherwise this. And in the button in the button text, what I can do is I can just if is loading, then I'll just return that loading. And I don't think I need to make any changes on here. I'll just make sure I just disabled it, and I'll just decrease the opacity of the button so that it can be properly visible. Or I'll just add a background color of is loading, then gray, else I'll just make sure that it's white, it's transparent for now. So once I click on this, I will see that if I click on Facebook, it will have this animation. I don't like the color gray, to be honest. I'll just remove this, and I'll just make sure I disabled it, and it just shows me loading. And if I just click on Facebook, it will redirect me to Facebook and everything, and it will just take some time to get the data from the Facebook. And once that is done, I'm logged in on the Facebook. So this is how simple as it is. Once the sign in is done, we can quickly go into our Expo dashboard. We can see that the two accounts that we created are already here. So that is working perfectly fine. The next thing that I would like to do is, if you see, I'm currently logged in, but I'm still on the auth page. So what I need to do is I'll just go into the layout of the auth page. I had this variable, I'll just replace it. I would just use is from use auth. I'll just import it from Expo Clerk, and it gives me it's signed in. And I'll just copy this. If it's signed in, then it should redirect me to tabs, and I'll just copy this so that I can just paste the same logic here, and I'll just paste it here. And I would just import this use auth. I'll go here and then import it. I don't need it from here. And if it is not signed in, then I have to redirect it to /auth/auth. So now you will see there is some error with this one. I guess I need to save. So it's signed in, then this, and is not signed in, then this. Okay, interesting. So let me just try to check if this is just an error with me trying to load. Yes, so this is working now. What I would do is I'll just test it out in the settings component. I'll just copy what I had in this one. I'll just copy this. I'll just go here. I'll just paste it here. I'll just use the Clerk, and I don't need a description for now. And I'll just import my button from React Native, and I'll just use the sign out from the Clerk, and I'll just use this and then do this. So it's saying that you are currently signed in the sign out page. If I just click on sign out, it will redirect me to the app page. And the best part is, even if I just close my application, reopen it again, it will again redirect me to the application auth page. So everything is working as smoothly. Now that the auth is working properly and we have this home page and everything, you will see that we are still missing the username because we never onboarded the user. Again, currently what is happening is whenever user is logging in without the onboarding process, we are navigating to the main tabs. We don't want that. So basically what I need to do is in the auth, I will just remove this for now so that it does not redirect me. And in the tab, what I could do is if it is not signed in, then redirect to tab. But again, if signed in, and I'll just take out user from user, and I'll just say that if user dot unsafe metadata dot, I will use something called on onboarding underscore completed is not equals to true, then I'll just redirect it to complete your profile application. So if I just save it, you'll see that even if I logged in, I'm just redirected to this particular application. What I would do is I will just use the default value from this, and I'll just pull again the use user, and I'll just use it from the expo because I'm using the social provider. Usually the name is already there, so I'll just make sure that full name is using the user dot full name, or it would be empty, and everything else should be as it is. So for now, and again for the gender, I'll just populate it as a male, and if I just save it, you will see that I would be auto populated with this full name. Even if I log out the user and reopen the application, you will see that I am logged in, but I'm redirected to onboarding page. What I need to do is, now that this is working, and I would integrate this user name functionality so that user can complete the onboarding process from here. Now that we have this, the next thing that we need to do is update it. So what I need to do is on submit, I'll just use this user. Expo provides us again, I will just await, I'll just make it async, and I'll just use user.update. And what I'll do is I'll just update user name from data.username, and I'll just update the first name should be, so I'll just pull out a few things from the data. So I'll just pull out the full name, username, and gender from our data of React hook form, and I'll just use that username, and I'll just use the full name dot split so that they can split it. And for the last name, I'll just use this. And for the gender, what I will use is I'll just use this unsafe metadata, so we can basically save user metadata to this. And if I just save it, and I'll just make sure that I will just save it properly. And once that is done, the next thing that I need to do is I'll just reload. So what this does is it basically reloads the Clerk in our whole application, and user has to get the latest one. And once that is done, we can successfully now returns to the /tabs. I'll just do it here. So currently, if you can see, if I go to my dashboard, and if I go to my user, I'll see for this user, I don't have any username, I don't have any unsafe metadata or anything. Let me just enter the username. So I'll just make it interpret. I'll just make it male, and then complete profile. I will add a loading animation here, but what it's doing is it's taking a bit time. I'll just make sure that it's implemented properly. No, something is wrong here. I just need to add a try catch. I think I need to add a try catch, and then just console the error. And if I just click on submit again, first name is not a valid parameter for this request. Also, basically what we need to do is, if I go to the configuration, I'll just need to make sure that the personal name is enabled. So if this is not enabled, then I cannot add that detail for the particular user. And if I just click on continue complete account, you'll see that I am redirected here. I'm just verifying if it is completed. So it is having the username as well as the gender, and it also has the first name and last name properly added. It redirected back from me. So if it is signed in, and okay, I also need to make sure that this is completed. So that was also a good thing that I added that there. So why am I adding here instead of just the username is sometime onboarding process might have multiple steps to it. So I would say that you will just add this. So now if I just save this again, I would be redirected to home page, and I see the username is properly updated. So, but the best thing about it is if I'm logging in to the same application next time, and if I click on this and I continue, it will not show me I will just need to make sure that this is properly integrated. So I'll just make sure that it's signed in, and user equals to user dot unsafe metadata dot onboarding completed is not equals to true. Oh, is equals to true. If this is true, then redirect to this, otherwise stay on where you are. So basically, if I click on logout now and click on this, click on continue, click on this one and click on continue, I'm not being prompted with the login, or sorry, the complete your account page. So this is working perfectly fine as I expected. So this is how you can integrate and add authentication and onboarding functionality with Clerk in the Expo. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Cheers.